Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to come here today. You know, everybody's got busy schedules and things to do, but thanks for spending your afternoon with us here. I'm going to introduce everybody. I'm Brian Earlbach, Service Manager at Manning for 34 years.
Dennis Barnholt. I've been in a Todman store for about 5 years.
Cody Moreland, I've been service tech at the Adair location for 6 years.
Travis Mullinger, been a service tech for 8 years.
Going to run through our agenda today. What we're going to do is talk on uniform seat depth, and then we're going to go to uniform seat spacing, and then we'll talk about the uniform seat emergence, and then we're going to work on our row stand here. On the left side we have used parts, right side we have new parts. Show a couple demonstrations on that, and then we have 3 short videos we'll run through and look at stuff there.
Well, as you guys know, input costs continue to grow. We must not only be ready to go to the field this spring, but we also need to be ready to manage our planter in the field as conditions change. With high input costs and the need to maximize potential, we can no longer rely on just preparation. We need to understand the agronomic impacts of what our planter is doing, and what we can do when things don't go as planned will give us the ability to correct errors, maximize potential, and reduce risk.
As we all know, planter performance, whether it's good or bad, something that shows up days later after you're done planting. Crops develop to stand, that's when you notice it. So we're trying to maximize these so that we don't have that problem, because those seeds that aren't going to produce anything, they're still growing, they're still fighting for the sunlight, the nutrients. So we're going to maximize that to get the most bushels we can at the end of the year.
And when it comes to checking that uniform seed depth spacing, so we get that good emergence, what is the one thing we got to do to make sure we're achieving that? What do we got to do, just to make sure that we have that? Very good. So important these days with the way seed cost is. We got to verify what's going on. We just can't always be going off of what that screen's showing us. It may look like right in your maps, but there's only one way to know. Because if you take the time to set up the planter, you're going to see the gains at harvest time. Get more bushels per acre and just overall better standing.
First one we're going to talk about is uniform seed depth. What's it take to get that? First thing is down pressure, too much or too little. We're going to have a couple demonstrations. On this one here unit, when we run it ahead, we'll show you how to check that gauge wheel. They'll also be in the video. They'll give you a short thing on how to turn the gauge wheel if it's too tight or too loose. Second thing is speed. Everybody gets in a hurry with speed and wants to get that seed in the ground, but it really affects that spacing on there. And just a good thing in the Farm Journal Successful Farmer on slowing down how much that will gain you as far as dollar-wise. Anybody know if we're planting at 35,000 population, running 6.5 mile an hour, how many seeds per second are dropping down that tube? 19 seeds per second are coming down that tube, so it doesn't take but a few hundredths of a second of a jump or skip to lose a few seeds. So that can add up. And if we're talking dollar-wise, that's $1.14 a minute or a second. It is $68.40 a minute and $4,100 an hour if you're running a 16-row machine. So it doesn't take long to really mess up a few dollars worth of seed if we don't have it set right or if we're going too fast or what. Third thing is worn row unit parts. Now, as I said before, we've got the left side is worn, the right side is good. We're going to run through a demonstration, and then we have our table of parts that we'll be going through showing you. We have new and used on there, so you can tell what new looks like, what used, what you look for on a planter, and then we'll also tip these units up and show you there. Row cleaners and coulters. As far as seed depth, checking your wheels, make sure the bearings are good. Seeing what depth you want that set at, seeing what your one coulter in the front, you want that 1/4 inch above your true V's. You don't want that running too deep and not making your seed trench. You want your true V's to actually do that. Planter frame level, you want to be checking side to side. The planter frame height is 21 inches is the optimum. That gives you the most up and down. So if you want to make sure that you both got 21 or you're 20, but you want to get close from side to side, and then you want to check your front to back, make sure that's level. And then field compaction. And everybody knows their own fields, I've been through them, they know where the compaction is, and we can set the planter to one, but it's hard to set for compaction and for good spots in the field. If everybody, you know, where your compactions are, if we can get them taken care of in the fall or spring before we get the planter out there, will help in getting that seed depth.
Next, we're going to talk about uniform seed spacing. Some things that can affect that is your back settings. We want to make sure we have that set right so we can keep those seeds on the plates. We don't want them falling down, create skips. Worn row unit parts, we need to make sure, inspect the seed tubes, make sure they're not wore out, because that can cause a ricochet and seed could get misaligned in the trench. Next would be worn drive parts like chains, drill shaft bearings, transmission bearings. Want everything chained, lubed up. Bearings are all roll-free. If there's a catch, it can cause a skip. You can consider 1/1000th of an acre and 200 bushel of corn with a stand count of 28 harvestable ears, with each ear representing 7 bushel an acre. We need to preserve stand by minimizing skips and multiples, yet maintain consistent spacing and raise an ear count by just 2 ears per stand can give you a 14 bushel increase in yield. So spacing is kind of critical thing to.
Next, we're gonna talk about uniform emergence. Everything these guys talked about, seed depth, seed spacing, everything leads up to emergence. When that plant actually comes up, if the crop's coming up evenly, if we're getting a full stand. Some other things besides what they talked about that go along with that is closing wheel frame alignment. We want to make sure that closing wheel is centered over that seed trench. We don't want to drop a wheel in there. Pack that soil too tight on that seed so it has to work to get through the soil. And then also the seed to soil contact. We want to make sure that we're getting the soil to cover that so the seed has a chance to grow. Also seed depth, we want to make sure that we're getting enough downforce to get the seed to where we want it, but that we're not getting too much downforce so that we're packing the soil and it's hard to close. And along with that, when we get to that seed depth, we want to make sure we're getting deep enough to get into the moisture where it has a chance to grow and not just putting it on top of the ground. Residue managers, like Brian said, if we have coulters or trash whips, we want to make sure we have those adjusted right, so you're not digging a trench, that your seed's getting too deep. I mean, if you have your coulter set below your true V's, then you're going to end up deeper than where we're wanting to get. Also with our residue managers, we want to make sure that we're clearing that area in front of the true V's so that they can do what they're designed to do and that we're not digging a trench for it.